I've been getting a little bit confused about what things are and where they are with respect to SharePoint, Teams and Class Notebook. So this is really just a little, almost like a video diary to myself, to have a record of what my understanding is at the moment. So here we are in my class team, and within the class team I've got an area which is called Files. So I can see these files here. If I click on Class Materials, I've got some folders there. But where are they? Where are they stored? To find out, you would click probably on Copy Link. And this is where I think I'm now understanding things better. That when I look at the link, I have two different links which I could have, which apparently seem to have different addresses. There's one which is the Microsoft Teams link, and there's the SharePoint link. In here what we've done is to copy and paste the different links just to see how they are different. And I think this bit helped me, that if you're looking at the SharePoint website, that's where all these files are, you've got this Sites section #2019, so this is the site that belongs to this class, this team, and that is within COM, which is the authority, the international authority, within SharePoint, and it's the Ashcombe School. And so apparently you read, I've been told you read addresses backwards. So this is this little section which is within the sites and so on. I don't think I've really understood that, but anyway. And then here it's the same, it gets you to the same place, and that would be right. So actually, having just clicked on them, those files are, you can reach those files from two ways. So if you click on this one, so let's do this. If you link via the Teams website, if I go in there and I click there and I put that address in, what does it do? It's opening up Teams and it's bringing me to where I was. Okay. However, if I were to click on the other link which it gave me, which is the SharePoint link, so that's what the link is, say, just to make it absolutely transparent. So I select that and then I'll go into a tab here and I'll put that in. What's it opening now? Okay, so it's got those files. It's got the student work and the teachers only, and here are the class materials over here. So it looks different, but they are all there in SharePoint. And this is the important thing that I think I'm now understanding, is that everything is SharePoint. That's the place where all of our stuff is. But somehow it's the various apps like Teams, ClassNote and other things which make the display different. So now we can really switch between the two. That's what it looks like if you put in the SharePoint address. That's what it looks like if you put in the Teams. So Teams has got the teachers only student work and somehow has said, right, we want the class materials to appear on top. If I go to SharePoint, this has got the student work and teachers only in that section, and then I would click on class materials to get to that section. So is there any difference between getting files from the SharePoint address or from the Teams address? I suppose I quite like the idea of just staying within the team, the idea that you'd be able to say to people, just go to the team and you can get everything. You've got your posts, you've got your files, you've got your class notebook. But the thing that I'm discovering more and more is that it has got its limitations. And in fact, when it comes to files, there are some advantages in using the link that takes you to SharePoint, and this is the reason why. I just actually paused them because suddenly I couldn't see the class materials, and I didn't know why, but I clicked away and then I came back and then they appeared again. So I'm about to demonstrate the limit, one very, very small, but it is a little bit of a limitation, that if you're within here, within Microsoft Teams, and say you're wanting to add or access a link to a site. So here, this is something which I'd already prepared. This had been pulled in, and so there are these things. And normally you'd expect, when I've created a link, you'd express that when you click on it, you would normally expect that it would go there straight away. So for example, if I wanted to go to that YouTube channel, I click on there. But this is what happens every time, that I want to go there, but it won't let me go there. And what does it want me to do? It's inviting me to download, and then what it's doing is downloading the URL as a something. I mean, for the moment, I'll just stick it here. June event. Open it. So having downloaded it, if I want to open it, then it works. It gets me there. Now, in some ways, I suppose you could say it's actually quite useful for me in my file structure, my own file structure, to have those links all ready for me. So it's not a bad thing to have that. But very often in a teaching situation, I actually am putting it there so that people can access it very quickly and very easily. So, so is there a way around this? Well, yes. The way around it is to open it in SharePoint. So one way you can do it from here, which I've only just discovered, is that if you click on those three, the ellipsis, which is always where you've got to click. When there's a problem, click there and there'll be gold dust. I could have, by the way, downloaded it that way, but I can also open it in SharePoint. When I open in SharePoint, that takes me not actually to that specific one which I had selected. I'd selected YouTube channel. It loses that, but at least it takes me to the folder in which it was. So now, this is what I'm familiar with in SharePoint, where if I've created a link, I can click on it and it goes there straight away. So let's just close that and let's go back to just the team view again. This is what happens to me, that I think, wait, how do I go? Oh, go back. So say we've come to the class and we're saying we want to use a file and get a link. And what you can do is you can still stay within the team if you want to, but when it gets to the files, you would then go perhaps straight to here to open in SharePoint. Rather than navigating the files in here, you could go straight to SharePoint. So open in SharePoint, and then this opens up the files there. But it could be confusing for some people, that, and me included, that the class materials are actually over there. So you would click on class materials, and then from there find your links. So the link that I was looking for was YouTube video links, and there they are. So I'm thinking aloud again now, and perhaps I'll just close that, go back to here. And I suppose you could say, first of all, find the thing it is that you want from in here. So in here, I want to have a YouTube video link, that's the one that I want. And it would be really telling people that at that point you must open it in SharePoint if it's a link. Anything else is fine, but it's just if it's a link that you must open it in SharePoint, and then it has actually opened up the class materials. I haven't had to think, oh, where are the class materials? They're over here. So the other thing I was wondering was, that's where the class materials are there. So it's really knowing that, where are the others? Where was the student and the teacher part? Where were they stored? So if you're interested, this is where they are. You go to Documents, and then within Documents it's General. So those 3 file areas, which are at the top of your Teams notebook, are stored in SharePoint. That's where they are. And as far as your structure on your site, and this is the site for this team is here, this section Ashcombe, and there's the name of it. Within Documents, General, you've got the student work. There we are. All of their names there, and you've got the teacher only section that's there within the Documents, and then the class materials are in a separate area here, going down there. The number 1, by the way, on each one is because I went to look at them and some of them didn't have all of the files that were in there originally, so I've copied them over. So if you're wanting to create a link, what do? I do this quite a lot in languages because I like to give people links to, like for example the YouTube. There's a lot with listening and video that you can do with languages. So normally when you're in a file, you'd be used to being able to create a link. And you could probably tell that this is what I'm about to say, because I was really quite disappointed that when I wanted to add a link, say for example I wanted to add another link here to my YouTube video links, in SharePoint I'm used to clicking on New, and I'm used to having the option of adding a link. But no, I could only add Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, or Forms for Excel. There is no option of being able to add a link when you're within Teams. So if you want to add a link within Teams, just as in order to open one you have to go into SharePoint, so it is that if you want to create one you have to go into SharePoint. So I'm in this YouTube video links, I open in SharePoint, and it has taken me to the folder, and this time under New, look, I can do a link. So I click link, and then I would do my usual thing of finding a something I want to put in. Oh gosh, that frightened me.
En route pour les vacances d'été.
Oh, this is brilliant. This is
On
really
the road
good.
to...
So we copy the link there, Control C, and we go back here, create the link to short stories, and I'm going to write it in short French stories. Create. There it is, short French stories. So I'll close the link just to prove it works. Click on that, and I'm not scared of it now. I know that's going to happen. There we are. And I suppose the test is now, when I go into my Teams, has that taken across? And it hasn't actually appeared yet, so I wonder if I have to just refresh. Perhaps I just have to refresh the site. And go back to my class materials, my YouTube video links, and there it is, it's appeared. So I realise that this has been quite rambling, but it's showing my thought processes, and I think that through doing this video, hopefully it's going to stick a little bit better for me now. So I'm going to take me back. I quite like to leave it as I found it here, just with my posts, in the knowledge that now I understand that I can upload anything except links into these files, and that if I need to upload a link, then I have to go into SharePoint and choose where it is I want to put a link, click there, and it is going to be possible to do new link, put in a link. I'm also going to be clear to the students that if I want them to follow a link, they would click, and the first thing they have to do is to open it in SharePoint, and then they'll be able to find the link. There might of course be a much better way of normally accessing links. I know there are different ways of curating these sorts of things, but I quite like the idea of having it within a file that, for example, you've got your PowerPoint and you've got your associated audio file all within the same file. So I think it's something which is worthwhile working on and getting it so that people understand how to do this. If you've made it this far, thank you very much. Well done. And I just would add that I have been given a link to say that this is something which, as a community, people who are using Microsoft are asking Microsoft to address this and see if it can be changed.